Chapter 29. Before you grow up, leave China to us to protect you. As Zhao Ziyan said, this victory belongs to all of them. The monsters have been cleared. Will there be no need for control in the future and I can go out to the mall casually? My physical fitness has improved by 100%. I feel that my body is at least younger than before. 10 years old. My son is a sports student, and just now he lifted 3 tons of things easily. Hey, now I run 100 meters, and I can break 10 seconds casually. Bolt is no match for me. In the live broadcast room, Chinese people are excitedly sharing their own changes. The sudden magical reward. A surprise for everyone just getting started. They still don't quite understand what 100% physical improvement means until, after testing your strength, running speed, reaction speed, etc., they truly realize that this was a great blessing. Quietly. China's 1.4 billion people have been completely transformed. Now any Chinese he can easily lift 200 kilograms of things. His running speed can crush Usain Bolt, and his reaction speed, in short, the physical fitness of every ordinary person is already comparable to that of a special soldier. Yanjing. Cabinet. The old men looked at their old bodies, their old and wise eyes flickering. Excited. Do it, Yang Mo really did it. Not only did it directly solve China's crisis, it also received top ratings from the Civilization Trial. SSS level evaluation. The national physique has improved by 100%. They have long been decrepit, and no scientific method can slow down the aging of their bodies. At this moment, they are full of vitality again. Feeling the changes in his body, Wang Yu couldn't help but pick up his phone, dialed Yang Mo once connected. He sincerely praised, Yang Mo, you are a hero of the country. The test of civilization came too suddenly. Without Yang Mo, Huaxia is also in the exploration stage now and will never receive this SSS level reward. The ideal situation. It should be similar to the United States, which can only get an A-level evaluation and improve the physical fitness of the whole people by 10%, and now the physical fitness of the whole people has improved by 100%. There are so many things that China can do. The people have a certain ability to protect themselves. The combat effectiveness of the army has doubled. If we encounter those 001 undead again, the battle will never be so difficult. You deserve credit this time. Our cabinet plans to give credit to you, the main personnel involved in the Book of Life and Death project, and the soldiers who fought bloody battles on the front lines. Wang Yu paused and then said, the cabinet discussed it carefully, decided to give Yang Mo the title of National Scholar. The main participants in Book of Life and Death will have their ranks and salaries upgraded to level 3. The soldiers who fought bloody battles in Liangchang were all awarded second-class merit. The soldiers who died were posthumously awarded first-class merit, and today is designated as Civilization Trial Day every year to commemorate the soldiers who died in the Battle of Liangchang, Northern Frontier, Book of Life and Death. R&D base. Yang Mo put down the phone and looked at Song Daoyun, Chui Tianhao, and others beside him. Notified of the news, everyone heard this. We hugged each other excitedly, and cheers of excitement and joy broke out. In order to complete the Book of Life and Death plan, they have been busy day and night for 12 days, physically and mentally. They are already exhausted, but the country has not forgotten them. Promote level 3. Salary benefits doubled enough for them and their families to live a good life. Just when I think of my family. A deep look of longing appeared on the faces of Song Daoyun, Chui Tianhao, and others. My mood couldn't help but feel depressed. In order to participate in the Book of Life and Death project, they lost contact throughout the entire process, and their families had no idea where they had gone. I'll give you guys a half-day holiday. Yang Mo glanced at everyone and smiled slightly. Everyone, go find Zhao Ziyan, collect your mobile phones, make video calls with your family, and report that you are safe. The words just fell. Song Daoyun and others burst into cheers again, even more excited than before. Long live Dean Yang! Long live Dean Yang! Long live Dean Yang! Yang Mo was lifted up by them together and easily thrown into the sky, being caught firmly. Be thrown into the sky again. A joyful and relaxed atmosphere permeates the entire base. Looking at the ceiling, which is sometimes big and sometimes small, Yang Mo, who was in midair, also showed a knowing smile. Everyone here, they are all like him, silently guarding China. Rebirth. He still has countless comrades walking side by side, and I am never alone. Yangchang. A certain community. The vast horizon is my love, and the flowers are blooming at the foot of the rolling green mountains. The ringtone of the mobile phone rang in the living room. Son, bring mom's cell phone here. In the kitchen, a woman was busy. A living room. A 6-year-old boy walked to the sofa with short legs, just about to pick up the phone, but unintentionally. I saw the caller ID and the note was, Dear husband. Dad? He was overjoyed and quickly clicked the call. Put the phone against your ear, asked cautiously. On the phone, it seemed like he was stunned for a moment, and a familiar voice came 2 seconds later. It's Dad, where's Mom? Just a few words, the voice was slightly choked. Dad, I miss you. The little boy's eyes were red and he chattered on the phone, where have you been these days? I've called you so many times. You don't even answer the phone. Mom said, you went to save the world. Did you go to fight monsters? I heard from my classmates that there are many monsters in our country. Listen to these innocent words. On the other end of the phone, the middle-aged engineer holding the phone tightly couldn't help but tremble, already in tears. He just listened to his son quietly from time to time, I should say a few words of harmony. Then Dad, what kind of job do you have? Like Brother Daegu on TV, can you transform into Ultraman and fight monsters? The little boy suddenly stopped. Asked curiously. Dad is much more powerful than Ultraman. The middle-aged engineer pursed his lips and said with a smile, Dad, together with many people, developed a very awesome thing. Just press the button. You can destroy the monster. No need for Dad to take action. Wow! The little boy opened his eyes and clapped his hands. Then I will. When you grow up, you should be like your dad and develop things to destroy monsters. Okay, then Daddy will wait for you to grow up. The middle-aged engineer held the phone tightly, and the father and son quietly made an agreement. Before you grow up, Daddy will help you protect China. Pull the hook. Pull the hook. In the kitchen, the mother came out with a plate of fried vegetables and walked curiously to the little boy. I want to know who my son is chatting with so happily. Chapter 30. All thanks to you, the mountains and rivers are safe, and the world is safe. When I heard the familiar voice in my memory, she trembled slightly and took the phone. There are obviously thousands of words. At this moment, but I don't know where to start. When are you coming back? On the phone, the middle-aged engineer was silent for a long time. Kai replied with guilt, Xiaoqian, I'm sorry. Dean Yang told them. China's crisis is far from over. Science fiction heavenly plan has only completed a small part, and there are more important tasks waiting for them. I'm sorry again. The wife seemed to have had enough of this, and became a little emotional. You just said I'm sorry, and you left the child alone with me? The middle-aged engineer opened his mouth but stopped talking. But I don't know how to comfort my wife. He prides himself on being worthy of everyone. Be you worthy of the country, only, sorry wife. Xiaoqian, all my salary has been transferred to your card. There is an emergency meeting, so I will hang up first. He wanted to say something more, but suddenly received a notification. I had to endure it. Hang up the phone. When the wife heard the busy signal on the phone, she could no longer hold back the tears in her eyes. Mom, Dad just hooked up with me. The little boy didn't notice this, and still said to himself, he said that I was already a man and wanted me to protect him first. You are so stupid, you can only protect others when you grow up. Don't worry, Mom, I will protect you in the future. Learn from your father. At such a young age, he quietly clenched his fists. At the same time, across China, many families have received calls from missing people. The wife misses her husband, the son misses his father, mother misses her son. The most sincere warmth in the world is quietly performed everywhere. They left their hometowns and remained anonymous. Some of them gained understanding from their families, who silently supported them behind the scenes. There are also, in order to carry out the mission, the wife and children were separated, leaving nothing but feathers on the ground. But no one regretted it. Since ancient times, loyalty and filial piety cannot have both sides. There is no way to have both worlds in the world, either to live up to the Tathagata or not to live up to you. They all love this land deeply. I can't bear to see it suffer another disaster and repeat the blood and tears disaster of 100 years ago. Therefore, after a short phone call, everyone resolutely returned to work. Continue to be busy. Yanjing Monster Research Institute. After the Book of Life and Death came out, Yang Mo returned here. By Song Gaoyun, guard at the base of the valley. Be fully responsible for the weapon, Book of Life and Death. Of course, the supreme authority has always been in his hands. Dean, according to your request, we conducted a comprehensive analysis of the horns and scales of the 001 Immortal, and had a cold weapon expert draw the drawings, and successfully created the Immortal Armor. BR just returned soon. The people from the research team found Yang Mo with a copy of the finished armor. Has it been made? Looking at the armor in the hands of the researcher, Yang Mo's eyes lit up. Combined with past life experience, he knew to deal with monsters. Sometimes cold weapons are better than hot weapons. After all, monsters can disguise themselves as ordinary people and hide in cities, and cannot use weapons of mass destruction at all. And combined with the special materials on the monster, a new cold weapon was developed. It became the mainstream of resistance against monsters in previous lives. These weapons are collectively called mythical weapons. For example, the immortal armor, made from the horns, scales, and claws of the 001 undead, inherits the terrifying defensive properties of the undead. It is the first mythical weapon in the previous life. After our testing, immortal armor can not only withstand the impact of bullets, but also effectively resist the attack of 001 immortal, absorb kinetic energy, weaken damage, and has extremely strong single defense properties. Researcher expression of excitement. I can't put it down for this newly developed armor. Its material comes from terrifying and ferocious monsters. Unlike materials already on Earth, it has many strange properties. Strictly speaking, it can be completely divided into a separate material discipline. The new monster material science, the armor of immortality, is also their most satisfying work. What a pity they developed the immortal armor a little late. If only it could be faster. During the Battle of Liangcheng, the demon hunting team and the military can equip the immortal armor. The battle will not be so brutal. You have done a good enough job. Yang Mo looked at everyone and nodded encouragingly. In the past life, immortal armor was developed by the Chinese scientific team during the third round of civilization trials. Defensive armor as a basis. It appears greatly reduced China's casualties, and it depends on the material. The levels of the immortal armor produced are also different. The materials dropped by the first level undead can only create the first level immortal armor. Similarly, the materials dropped by the second level undead can be used to create the second level immortal armor. The defensive attributes are also different. Think of this. Yang Mo took a deep breath and looked at his assistant Zhao Ziyan behind him. Instructed, Ziyan, hurry up and communicate with other departments to manufacture as many immortal armors as possible, and give priority to equipping the demon hunting team and frontline combatants with one pair. I'll go right away. Zhao Ziyan nodded solemnly, turned around and left immediately. No sloppiness at all. Asa host, she witnessed the tragic battle between Zhang Yongguang and others. I know very well how many lives of soldiers this immortal armor can save and how many unnecessary sacrifices can be avoided. Yanjing Cemetery Memorial Meeting. I'm afraid you left in a hurry and didn't know yet, so I came here to tell you. Yang Mo took a bottle of wine and sprinkled it on the tombstones in front of him one by one. Under the tombstone, buried are the soldiers who died in the Battle of Liangcheng. Look around, there are thousands of tombstones next to each other. Extremely shocking, the lives that were once alive are forever buried in this land. We won the Battle of Liangcheng. Destroy all the enemies. A great victory. Yang Mo stared at the tombstone and quietly shared the news of victory, his mood somewhat heavy. I have seen many tragic scenes in my previous life. Seeing thousands of tombstones at this moment still makes my scalp numb. Under your protection, the 800,000 people in Liangcheng have survived, and the monsters in the country have been completely eliminated. It's all thanks to you. The mountains and rivers are safe, and the world is safe. Said. He took off his hat and stood in awe, bowing deeply towards the tombstone in front of him. Behind Zhang Yongguang roared and opened his mouth, blood splattered from his horse throat. Salute! These two words floated over the cemetery. The demon hunting team and other military officers stood with their feet together and raised their right hands in unison. Put your hands up to your forehead. The movements are uniform. In the sky, the dark clouds dispersed quietly, and the warm and bright sunshine fell on the tombstones. Chapter 31. The shocked United States. The Book of Life and Death plan is just the tip of the iceberg, brothers. Have a good journey. Zhang Yongguang pursed his chapped lips and spoke hoarsely. After bidding farewell to our comrades, he turned around resolutely and left the cemetery with the demon hunting team. They will shoulder the mission of their comrades and continue to protect China, Earth. Within each country, when China is having fun and enjoying an unprecedented safe atmosphere, countries are still shrouded in an atmosphere of fear and despair. The mysterious settlement sound notified the ratings of each country, and also revealed the number of monsters remaining in their country. Is the government eating shit? After all this time, why are there still more than 800 monsters in the country? My 7th great-uncle and his 3rd niece's aunt were eaten by monsters yesterday. Yesterday, another 336 people died in our country, and 92 people were missing. The monster passed by. Is it going to be advanced again? Help! I really don't want to become food for monsters. Although the first round of civilization trials has been settled, however, the daily death toll announced by various countries continues to rise more and more. From time to time, you can hear news of monsters raging, breaking into houses and massacring an entire family. In the news, the media are even more worried about the chaos in the world, and are rushing to report on the murders caused by monsters. All kinds of tragic situations are shocking: pessimism, horrified, despair, people from all over the world are afraid of being eaten by store owners disguised as monsters even when they go out to buy groceries. Nowhere in the world is safe now, there are monsters everywhere, except China. I get angry when I talk about China. This country is narrow-minded and has a despicable character. Under such circumstances, it has implemented a closed country. Yes, after all, we are all human beings, but they only care about themselves and do nothing to save them. It is so heartless. They are lucky, they cleared everything in the first round. Monsters, just wait, the second round of civilization trials will come in 3 days, when they beg us. Mention China, people from all over the world were angry and cursed. The reason, of course, China refused to accept them. All international flights closed to anyone without Chinese nationality is prohibited from entering Chinese territory, just like the isolation of the country hundreds of years ago. It's just that, this time of seclusion is not a complacency, but keep to yourself. The United States Department of Defense, several intelligence officers stood in front of Jobs reporting the information obtained. After our close investigation, we found that China's Book of Life and Death plan was born out of the director of the Monster Research Institute, Yang Mo. On the screen, a photo of Yang Mo popped up. It was him who, when the first round of the civilization trial first appeared, established the Monster Research Institute against all objections. It was also him who figured out the monster's habits and compiled it into the Monster Manual, which has become a best-selling book worldwide. And the Book of Life and Death plan was proposed by him. We also found that the Book of Life and Death plan seems to be just a link in a huge plan, just the tip of the iceberg. BR listened to the report. Jobs' heart trembled and he couldn't help but take a breath of air. My face became even more ugly. The Book of Life and Death plan, is it just a part of the series plan? Huaxia, what kind of plan do you want to implement? Why implement such a plan? Is the monster crisis far from that simple? Yang Mo. The more he thought about it, the more frightened he became, staring at the photo on the screen. How unfair is God? Why'd such talents come from China, not their country, the United States? Where is the core of the Book of Life and Death plan? Have you found it? After a while, he took a deep breath and asked again in a deep voice. Several intelligence officers looked at each other. With a wry smile, he shook his head and said, "We have used all the spies planted in China, but we have not been able to find the core technology of the Book of Life and Death project. This plan, the level of confidentiality in China is too high. There are only a handful of people who know the core secret. No more than 2 hands. Continue to investigate for me." Jobs' face darkened, and he ordered in a cold voice, "Use all means, no matter what the cost, to find out how China created the Book of Life and Death. Now, there are more than 700 monsters lurking in the United States. The daily death toll is as many as 2,000. The people have long been panicked. Unrest. No more ideas. There is no need for those hidden monsters to take action. The United States itself will be in chaos. Call the people from the Scientific Research Institute over here." He thought for a while and shouted to the secretary outside the door. After a while, several old professors with gray hair and white coats walked into the office. "How is your research institute's research on the 001 immortals going?" Jobs got right to the point and asked directly, "Have you found an effective way to kill them?" In the study of monsters, China has gone the furthest and researched the most deeply. Therefore, the scientific research institutes in the United States also followed the monster numbering system proposed by Yang Mo. The goat-horned human-faced monster that appeared in the first round of trials will be called the 001 Undead. According to our research, the 001 Undead have strong vitality and defense, and it is extremely difficult to physically destroy them unless we start from other levels. An old professor's website he came out and analyzed carefully. The second-level undead in Huaxia Liangcheng died mysteriously, possibly because they suffered severe mental or brain damage. The specific reason is unknown. We need more 001 undead for experiments. Here. Jobs' expression moved slightly, finally feeling more relaxed. Immediately order the military, send all captured undead to the laboratory of the Scientific Research Institute. The United States has the smartest scientific team and the most advanced scientific instruments in the world. Although the research on monsters started late, but he believed it, sooner or later, We will catch up with China and surpass it in all aspects. Premise: find a way to kill the 001 undead. One more thing. People in the United States now distrust our government more and more. Jobs suddenly remembered something and ordered, your scientific research institute should hold a press conference quickly. Publish some research results to appease the people and stabilize people's minds. The situation in the United States is very delicate now. Under the threat of monsters, the crime rate in various states has increased significantly, and the phenomenon of $0 shopping has frequently appeared. It has brought great pressure to public security in various places, this time. The Scientific Research Institute must come forward to give the public confidence and restore the positive official image of the United States. Yanjing Monster Research Institute, Recording Room. Zhao sits in front of the live broadcast camera and conducts daily live broadcasts, answer questions from domestic people, answer doubts. It's just, since the 001 undead in the country were cleared, she found that this generation of netizens had completely let themselves go. The harder it gets, the harder it is to serve. The questions raised are more tricky than the last. Chapter 32 China Press Conference. Didn't I ask him to stabilize people's hearts, and it has nothing to do with monsters. Anchor: I just accidentally dropped the shiitake mushroom in the toilet. Can it still be called a shiitake mushroom? Why doesn't Beethoven release new songs now? Anchor: do you know any health experts? Can you help me ask, can I eat breakfast on an empty stomach? I am watching The Three Kingdoms. I heard that Guan Yu did not kill the old and young. Why didn't Cao Cao send 100,000 old and young to kill Guan Yu? It has been 3 years since I graduated from college. What I learned in school has been returned to teacher. Can I ask the school to refund my tuition? Looking at the questions popping up in the barrage. A few black lines appeared on Zhao Ziyan's forehead, and the corners of her mouth twitched a few times. It's all the dean's fault, making China too safe. These netizens were so full that they went to the live broadcast room to tease her by asking such questions of this. Is this a question that humans can think of? Everyone, stop making noise. The United States is holding a press conference. When she had a splitting headache, she accidentally caught a glimpse of a barrage. As Yang Mo's secretary to IT is also part of her job to pay close attention to the trends of various countries and report them in a timely manner. So she also opened the link and found the web page of the press conference being held in the United States. In the video, the head of a scientific research institute in the United States announced some monster research results and called on the people of the United States not to worry. The United States has found a way to kill the 001 undead. It won't be long, the remaining monsters in the country will be cleared out. At the same time, also stated that the civilization trial was just an accidental and strange phenomenon. It will be over in another round or two. Won't last long. As soon as the news came out, the American people's morale has been greatly boosted, sweeping away the pessimism and despair of the past, celebrated the news. Why, it's different from what the dean said. Zhao Ziyan frowned slightly and couldn't help but mutter. Dean said it before. Civilization trials, one round after another, once turned on, there is no possibility of stopping. Holy shit. The United States actually said that they also discovered a way to kill 001, and the civilization trial is about to end. How do I feel that the United States is deceiving their people? At Anchor, is the civilization trial really coming to an end? Will there be no monsters coming in the future? I remember the Institute said before that the civilization trial will not end in a short time. Who is telling the truth? Live broadcast room. Many netizens in China also watched the US press conference and had a lot of doubts in their hearts. The barrage was overwhelming, densely packed. The questions asked were all about civilization trials. Where does it come from? Why does it appear? What is its purpose? How many rounds does it have? Since civilization is going to be destroyed, why are there rewards at the end of each round? Looking at these questions, Zhao Ziyan felt her scalp numb. In comparison, she felt that it was easier to answer the question Guan Yu did not kill the young and old. Monster Research Institute. Dean's office. Yang Mo was deploying a plan to deal with the second round of civilization trials when he suddenly received a call from the cabinet. Guan Yu asked me to host a press conference and answer people's questions? He couldn't help but be stunned. Nowadays, public opinion in various countries is fierce, and they are all trying to stabilize people's hearts. Wang Yu sighed on the phone and said matter-of-factly, "You are the director of the Monster Research Institute and the general person in charge of the Book of Life and Death project. Of course, this kind of matter must be left to you. The current situation subtle. The press conference in the United States has plunged the world into chaos. The undercurrent is surging. People of all countries, They are extremely concerned about issues such as when the civilization trial will end, including Huaxia, although the monsters in the territory have been cleared, but the trials of civilization and the crisis of monsters have always been a hanging sword. Let every Chinese people feel like they have something stuck in their throats of this time. Of course, it is necessary for the Monster Research Institute, as the official representative, to stand up, respond to the problems of the Chinese people, and stabilize people's hearts. I'll give it a try. Yang Mo thought for a while, nodded and agreed. Half a day later, press conference site. This is a Q&A conference specially held for the people of China, take the form of live broadcast, synchronized to major local satellite TVs. Countless people were listening to this press conference. Yang Mo stood in front of the camera, facing the national audience. A familiar feeling come to mind. He remembered. In previous lives, many similar press conferences were held with officials in various countries, like the United States this time, have issued many optimistic assertions in order to stabilize public sentiment, such as the civilization trial is about to end, domestic monsters pose no threat, etc., trying to give people confidence, stabilize public sentiment. But, as rounds of civilized trials begin, the role of the press conference is minimal. It's the fourth round of civilization trials. The global power system collapsed and various modern instruments failed. Communications in various countries are paralyzed. There was no press conference held again. Yang Mo calmed down his mind, pick up the microphone, take a deep breath, slowly spoke. I believe that everyone must have many questions in their minds now, but what they are most concerned about is when will the civilization trial end? Just finished speaking and the reporters at the press conference clicked their cameras frantically. I almost slapped Yang Mo in the face, afraid of missing any moment, and this scene through the live broadcast lens. It is broadcast in every corner of China. Now in front of the TV, mobile phones, and computers. Everyone stopped what they were doing. Hold your breath and concentrate. My ears pricked up. Everyone knows the answer to this question. Here, I can tell you responsibly that once the civilized trial starts, it will not stop. As soon as the words fell throughout China, everyone watching the press conference was stunned. Yang Mo's words, it was completely beyond their expectations and completely opposite to what the United States said. The trial of civilization will not stop. Doesn't it mean that monsters will continue to come? Can China survive the first round, survive the second round, survive the 10th round? This is a cruel trial that must be cruel. Immediately afterwards, Yang Mo then spoke and revealed the truth about the civilization trial. In the vast universe, there are mysterious forces, drawing all civilizations on Earth into this trial field. As the name suggests, either pass all trials and achieve a leap in civilization, or fail the trial, the civilization is destroyed and completely buried. In the long history, all civilizations, there are only two possibilities. In front of 1.4 billion Chinese people, Yang Mo's words were sonorous, steady, and powerful, and he directly announced this cruel truth. The conference site, the reporters were all stunned with their mouths open, and they even forgot to take pictures, and all over China, countless people fell into silence when they heard the news that the civilized trial would not stop. Backstage of the press conference, Wang Yu's eyes suddenly widened when he listened to Yang Mo's speech, somewhat dumbfounded. Didn't I let him stabilize the people's hearts?